to school, or the wife decides she wants to take care of the kids, or the husband wants to take care of his parents while the wife goes works. This happens all the time in marriages. And all of a sudden, now you can't do that anymore? And the judge's answer is, get a second job. So now to make sure you never spend time with your kids? That's the brilliant judge who thought that. And the reason why I get so angry about this, and I do get angry, and I often do, because my father died when I was a kid. So I didn't have a father in my life when I was 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I didn't have that. I would have taken a broke dad over no dad any day of the week, happily. I would have taken a broke dad in my life. I would have taken a broke dad, one who could only take me to have ice cream once a month. I'd have taken that any day of the week. I had nothing. And now I can imagine that the state takes a dad away who wants to be with his kid, a dad who wants to be with his kid, and the state says, go make more money. Shame on you, shame on you. That's embarrassing. And I will say it to any judge, and I've said it publicly many times, and I'll say it again. That's horrible. And here's the best part of it all. Okay, you can't afford to pay. We'll teach you, we'll take away your driver's license. What idiot judge thought that was a good idea? That's a good idea. We'll take your driver's license away. That'll teach you. You've just forced him to do one of three things. Be a criminal, lose his job, or abandon his family. That's his three options. Thank you, Judge. Or it gets worse. We'll take away his professional license. That'll teach him. How is that legal? Or worse, we'll put him in jail. We'll put him in jail. First off, that's debtor's prison. I thought we ended that like 250 years ago when we fought the British. I thought we got rid of that like centuries ago. I guess not. I guess we didn't. Now we're going to put him in jail. And the worst part of all of that is no due process, because it doesn't go through criminal court. So you can, if you want to, get a restraining order against somebody, then they break the restraining order, they go to jail, guy can be arrested with no due process because it's not criminal court. This family court system is completely broken. It's an embarrassment. So why does no one talk about it? See, you get it. That's what I'm saying. You get it. She gets it. Yes, it's an embarrassment. And here's the reason why people don't touch it. Two reasons. Number one, I say father's rights. And that makes women angry sometimes. I know. But you know what it also does? It gets people talking. They show up. And it also gets fathers to show up. And I need them. Now, why else would I talk about it? Because the people who are stuck in family court and busted up by this have no money. Their money goes to lawyers and to their family. That's it. They can't give me big checks. I know that, right? And so do all the politicians. And what do they care about? Big checks. And if you can't give them big checks, you don't have value. I told you, my average donation is $80. I'm okay without big checks. Please, if you have big checks, please give them. But not required. You don't have to give me big checks. I take it even though it isn't. So that's why people don't follow it. So there's a lot more on. Let me talk the biggest issue of family, the core of everything, the absolute core. For some of you who may not know this, if you are in family court and you lie, it is not treated as a felony. It's not treated as perjury. You can literally walk into a court and lie. They found out that you lied. Here is evidence that you lied. It's not perjury. Your lawyer can encourage you to lie, and they do. And then the court finds out you lied. No punishment for the lawyer. None. Now, that is a holdover. Some of you may not know this. New York State was one of the last states to have a no-fault divorce, which means that very often what would happen is you couldn't get divorced unless it was someone's fault. So you and I don't get along anymore, so we're going to get divorced. Well, we just don't get along anymore. We can't get divorced in New York State. Now you can. This is back in the day. You couldn't. So we'd have to lie. Yeah, she cheated on me. And she'd go, yeah, I cheated on him. And then we get divorced. That would happen all the time. So you would start the entire process by lying. So lying became the norm. Like a secondary court at the kids' table. Look, we don't care about the court. It's a separate court system. And I argue all the time, it's not a secondary court. It's the most important court. If we had better families, we'd have less people in jail. If we had better families, we'd have less people suing each other. If we had better families, we'd have better relationships. This stuff is generational now. You got kids who've seen everyone above them fall apart and think, I have no chance, so why should I bother? I mean, wonder why kids don't want to get married. We're showing them why. We wonder why we have kids, boys and girls that don't respect each other. We're showing them why. We don't respect ourselves, so they follow us. Kids don't do what we say, they do what we do. And when we slaughter ourselves in family court, they slaughter themselves in public life too. They follow us. It's what they do. We all become our parents. It's how it works. So that's why I care about family court. So, any other question or comment? I'm sorry, I kind of went off topic. I know this is supposed to be about 2A, I know. Apologize, guys. So, but again, as I say, I will take any question anytime. It doesn't really matter. What's going on? Please tell me.
Well, I'm a registered Republican, so I can vote in the Republican primaries. Open primary in New York State.
There's an open. Oh, yes. Thank you. Yes, the idea of having this party structure that forces people to become certain parties to vote is a bad idea. There should be open primaries, of course.
I generally vote Libertarian if there is such a candidate.
Yeah, but the issue is, I don't mind if people are party loyal. I'm party loyal. I love my party, right? But it doesn't mean I wouldn't vote for somebody else. And when you have non-open primaries, you're forced to only vote for your party.
Exactly.
Right? But not just that. You might decide the Democrat in this case is a good Democrat, but the rest of the Republicans I'm going to vote for. Or the Republican's good in this case, and I'll vote Libertarian here or there. I say it all the time. In this election, which is very special, a lot of people are coming out because of me. Because I'm exciting, I'm new, I'm different. Ah, cool guy, let's come on out, let's go register for this guy. But they don't know who else they're going to vote for. They're probably going to fall back to their old ways. So if you're probably a Democrat or Republican, you're going to vote Libertarian at the top, and then a bunch of Republicans if you're a Republican, a bunch of Democrats if you're Democrats. You're probably going to do that anyway. So, but the idea of open primaries allows you to choose which one you want to vote for. Do you think the Democrats better, Republicans better, Libertarians better, whoever's better, Greens better? You can pick your own party. I think it's exactly the right answer.
And a runoff system. I believe Maine passed that recently.
There are runoffs. You guys may or may not know that right now the system is not a runoff. It is a plurality, which for me is good. Because that means that you don't have to have 51%. You have to have more than the rest. So in a 5-way race this election, I could win with 30%. But in the runoff system, the top 2 go and then run again. Top 2 and then run again until someone wins. I don't really care either way. I think as long as we encourage more parties and more choice, as long as we have more options, I'm good. So I'm not really strong either way. Plurality stays fine or runoff, but I do believe we should have open primaries. Yes, absolutely. Good. Scopat, how are you, sir?
Good, thank you.
Didn't see you.
Sorry I'm late.
No, all good. Good to see you. So, any other questions or comments?
So what's your stance on gas exploration and fracking?
Yeah, when it comes to fracking, I'm a big fan of 2 things. You'll hear me talk about all the time. Transparency and property rights. These 2 things matter tremendously to me. So number 1, the reason why fracking is a big problem in New York State is because the fracking companies were not transparent. They were hiding behind intellectual property law and saying, I can't tell you what I'm putting in the ground. I can't tell you how I'm putting in the ground because of intellectual property. I'm not telling you. No, you have to tell us what you're putting in the ground and how you're putting it in the ground. It's going in the ground. It's going in people's property. If they will be transparent and not hide behind IP, and all the people who are affected, who own the property, say, yes, of course you should frack. The idea that a governor would say, you can't frack on your own land or you can't do things on your own land is completely wrong. There should be no statewide moratorium. That is a bad idea. I'll remove that immediately. But, to be clear, 2 things must be true. Completely transparent, and everyone whose property is affected has to agree. If those 2 things happen, frack. If they don't frack. It's that simple. It's your property, not mine. It's your property. As long as they don't say, well, I would tell you, but no. Here's what's going in your property. Here's how it's happening. Here's what we're doing. Do you agree? We agree. Go! Your property. I don't have a problem with that. Does it make sense? No. Awesome. Yes. Go ahead.
I'd like to see the age to carry a handgun go down to 18. I'm 19. I'm an Army reservist. I've carried a rifle, and I come home, you know.
And we'll be fine. You want to grade me? Grade us all, and then we can choose. But they literally said, don't support Larry Sharpe. Support the guy who said he will not repeal the SAFE Act, who is not going to stop red flag laws. Support that guy instead. Shame on the establishment of those 2 organizations. Tim Andrews is an embarrassment and should stop right now. He should just end. If that makes you angry, I'm sorry. If you don't like it, sorry, that's the truth. He is selling out. He is a sellout that has sold you all out. Horribly bad. That should not happen. Here's what I will do. Number 1, I will make sure we get rid of the SAFE Act. How do we do that? First thing, we'll begin to pardon people who are victims of the SAFE Act. There's about 1,000 people who have been convicted of a SAFE Act violation. For those who were bad guys already and got an extra thing tacked on top of them, like they robbed a liquor store and also got a SAFE Act violation, they stay in jail for liquor store. Don't rob liquor stores. Bad idea. Don't do that. Go to jail for that, stay there, right? They'll do that, but they don't get extra. But the guys who, for example, got arrested because they had, 11 rounds in their magazine and not 5, what's wrong with you? It's horrible. I get letters from people in prison and their parents because I'm the only governor who says I'll pardon them. So I'm getting letters right now. My son tried to fight and he went to court. He dropped $10,000. He's got 5 years in jail. He's now a violent felon. He's a violent felon now. I'll start pardoning. When that happens, they're going to attack me. Of course they will. Larry's an evil guy. Governor Sharpe's horrible, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be in court anyway for my entire 4 years. Everything I want to do is crazy, so they're going to be in court no matter what. I don't care. It's fine. They're going to be mad at me. It's fine. But while that's happening, anyone else who starts getting arrested, I'll pardon them also, making it basically useless for any prosecutors to even begin prosecuting us anymore. I will also tell all law enforcement, it is your lowest priority of enforcement. The vast majority of law enforcement does not want to enforce SAFE Act anyway. The vast majority wants to instead go get bad guys. That's why you're in law enforcement, to get bad guys, not count how many rounds is in someone's magazine. That's not what you want to be doing as a cop. You don't. So that's the next thing. When that begins to happen over the first year, what will happen is people realize this is a bad law. Meanwhile, while people are attacking me, that gives me the opportunity to talk about the bad law, how bad it is, how the SAFE Act makes people who are in the medical community become part of a secret state police. Well, they're reporting people who do things like say, oh, I'm in so much pain, I want to kill myself. Check box, lose your firearms. A veteran who comes back and wants to get some help and says, I feel terrible right now, I need some medication. Awesome, check box, lose your firearms. That's happening every single day in this state, all the time. People are going onto lists, again, with no due process. Is there a possibility that someone should lose their firearms? Of course, but due process, a reason why, an appeals process, a way to get your rights back. None of those exist with SAFE. None of them. There are vets who would eagerly, if they know we're in trouble, would give their firearms up to get a year or two of treatment if they could get them back. They would absolutely do it. I know them. They would absolutely go and say, I'm in a bad spot right now. I'm in trouble. Here's my firearms. Give me some help, and let me have them back. That doesn't exist in this state. What exists in this state is, I'm in trouble. Great, give me your firearms. You're on a list. You can't have firearms ever again. That's SAFE Act. That's how it works. When I tell people this, they begin to understand that. And I'll talk about that constantly. So by 2020, now people will know. But more importantly, as you've heard me say before, I will break a hole in this system, but you have to follow me through. And if you follow me through the hole that I break, if you follow me through, you'll be on the phone saying, Governor Sharpe's made this law kind of useless. Why do we still have it? Governor Sharpe's made this law useless. Why do we still have it? I don't get it. While you're doing that, the people in the Assembly hear it, the people in the Senate hear it. And the people of New York realize that for the year this law was useless, nothing crazy happened. There weren't shootouts in the streets. There wasn't a zombie apocalypse. It was okay. What did I just do? I changed culture. I got the people in New York State to realize the SAFE Act doesn't make us safer. I got people to realize it's okay if you get your Second Amendment rights back. So now when they repeal the SAFE Act in 2020, it doesn't come back. People have asked me often, Larry, just executive order it out, get rid of it. I could do that. But if I do that, no one's learned anything. So 3 years later, they make SAFE Act 3, and it's 4 times worse. I want to change culture. Hold on, I got to keep going.
No.
So once you do that, SAFE Act can be gone by 2020. But on top of that, 2 more things I want to add. One more is I want to have a universal way of transporting your firearm in New York State. Well, many of you don't know this. You take your firearm legally owned to New York City, you're going to Rikers Island. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. That's horrible. I just want to create uniform transportation, no matter what. These are minimums, right? You can be more loose or more lax in your account if you want to, but the minimum is, if your firearm is locked and unloaded, you can transport it anywhere within the state. That's not crazy. Actual answer, an actual plan. Now, what if I'm wrong? What if my plan can't work? Let me be wrong. Show me a better way. I'm in. Every time someone will tell you, Larry Sharpe's crazy, he can't get it done, and they will tell you that. Great, what's your plan? Yeah, no plan. No plan. If I'm wrong, we'll get a better plan. You show me, I'm in. I'm happy to be wrong. I want a better New York. I don't care who gets credit for it. It doesn't matter. Guys, I take